Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're going to be talking about the spell Hunger of Hadar. All right.
I know what that was.
Open this up for us, Sam.
Okay, Hunger of Hadar is sweet. You open a gateway between the dark. You open a gateway to the dark between stars, a region infested with unknown horrors. A radius of darkness, of blackness, and bitter cold appears. The void is filled with a cacophony of soft whispers and slurping noises. And you hit people like milky white tentacles. It's incredible. It's hilarious. It's so wonderfully silly. It is exactly what I want out of my Dungeons and Dragons. And it's also a pretty bad, like, it's just a good spell. This is just like, yeah, it's solid. It's darkness with damage, but it's a lot better than darkness with damage because it also takes all terrain. It's got an enormous cast range. It's everything about the spell is just, yeah, pretty good.
Just the description alone, it feels like there's a lot going on for a third level spell.
Yes.
You're going between worlds and there's milky tentacles. Whose tentacles? Is that Hadar?
I'm not a lore guy, but probably not. I don't know. Maybe, could be. It's some eldritch horror monster, loosely Lovecraftian, I'd guess. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert, but that sounds right to me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go back. Let's go back to the spell itself. Well, yeah. Third level. What are we comparing this to?
Fireball.
Fireball.
Easy.
Okay, that makes sense.
So at its minimum, whenever you cast the spell, you pick a 20-foot radius area. So we're the same size as Fireball. I put darkness in that space. And no matter what creatures in that space do, at the start of the turn, they are taking 2d6 damage. That's a given. If they're ending their turn within that area, they're taking a dex save or taking an additional 2d6 damage. And then this lasts a minute. So if you can conceivably keep them there or they don't decide to leave on their own volition, it only takes 2 rounds to get Fireball damage. Because every single turn they start in there, they're taking a guaranteed 2d6 damage. And there's dex saves on the end of turn to take 2d6 extra damage. Already, this is a relatively easy spell to get the damage you want out of it on a group of creatures. And I'm a big fan of that because the text of the spell continues. It makes the whole area difficult terrain, which means if things want to leave, they have to spend actions to do so. Because if they're at the center of a 20-foot sphere and they have a 30-foot move speed, 15 doesn't get them out. They have to dash to get out of it. Big W for the spell. Big win. On top of that, it's entirely darkness. Everything in there is blinded. So you can't see into that either. That's notable. It's a giant dark unknowable black sphere of nothingness that you can't really do anything about, but everything within that area also can't see out of it. They can't shoot at you from inside of it. They can't hit really anything reasonable from inside of it. If you put this right in between your paladin, like if the line of your paladin is here and the monster is here, their monster is enveloped in darkness. They can't see the paladin. They can't attack the paladin easily without getting out. All of that is pretty excellent. And again, this is a 150-foot cast range, which means you can put this anywhere you like. You can see, basically, for the most part. Basically, every single battle map is, if it is within the battle map, you're within range of it for Hunger of Hadar. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Plus, you get to feed your Hadar.
I love the concept that Hadar is just like a Neopet or a little Tamagotchi that is every warlock has their own little Hadar in a pocket dimension. You feed it by summoning Hunger of Hadar and just eat a bunch of goblins, send it off to your extra planar eldritch horror monster for lunch, Sure, why not? That's wonderfully silly. Yeah. This spell does have some problems. It's a warlock spell, unfortunately, for it. And there's a very important word missing for it to be a warlock spell, and that this doesn't scale with any level. This only ever has a 3rd level conjuration effect. It doesn't do anything if you cast as a 4th level or 5th level slot. I recently touched on Pact Magic when we talked about Hex. If you want a little bit more about Pact Magic, go watch that. But the gist of it is you never have lower level spell slots, so you can't ever spend 3rd level spells on Hunger of Hadar post 7th level. You always are using 4th level slots. And for that reason, you're very quickly going to figure out, oh, I have no reason to be casting this. I can cast 4th level spells, and 4th level spells are going to be more powerful than my 3rd level spells on average. That is a really big detracting point for the spell. The spell, I think, is very castable when you get it, and till 7th level, whenever you're like, I probably have better things to do than this. But for 5th and 6th level, if you want a fireball-ish thing in Warlock, this is kind of that.
Yeah, warlocks don't get as many choices as other spellcasters. So, for 3rd level, what do you think? Is this something your warlock wants?
If I can take this, I probably am. It taking your concentration is a bit annoying. So this is something that doesn't necessarily play well with the the long duration concentration effects that I like Hex is a big one that I'm like, oh, it's how I play Warlock nice and easily. If I'm really invested in a martial build, if I'm taking feats for like 2-weapon fighting, if I'm taking feats for like even like getting more weapon proficiencies, if I'm multi-classing fighter or something, this might not be able to slip on my character sheet as easily. If I am just playing caster Warlock, if I'm bread and buttering it, if I'm starting at 5th level, Hunger of Hadar is really easy to include. It's a spell that even if you are concentrating on other things, once concentration goes down, you can be like, okay, great. Hunger of Hadar you. That's not bad. The guaranteed damage is great too. So having spells that always do damage, I would recommend. It's like a magic missile effect. And it is not a big amount of damage, but it is some of the damage of the spell, and it just keeps going up from there. So
well, I mean, also the movement, the difficult terrain is nice. Just for keeping them in there is excellent. But also is just battlefield control. Slow those guys down a bit.
There will be some maps where like Hunger of Hadar just eats an entire room, where you just go lock the door and the barbarian bars the other one, and then you throw a Hunger of Hadar in there and just wait for them to die. A 20-foot area is big, so there will be a lot of encounters where this will just decimate things. That's cool. It's nice to have like a Warlock tool that does that.
All right, we got a score for this one.
I actually think at 5th and 6th level, this is probably a 4. Anywhere past that, this is a 3 or a 2. Just because when you get this is a really powerful effect that does a ton of things. And if you have some players that understand and are willing to work with Hunger of Hadar out the gate, it can be very difficult to necessarily manage as a DM. There'll be a lot of encounters, much like how Fireball warps the game, where Hunger of Hadar is like, crap. If I just send melee minions at them, there needs to be a wider than 40-foot area, or they just don't get to play the game anymore. So this is something that you will have to sometimes consider as a DM at 5th and 6th level. Anywhere past that, there's things that are going to be way better than this.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. I've never used this one in a game, so I will.
You should try it. It's very
defer
fun.
to your wisdom. Yes, I shall. Next time I play a Warlock,
which should be more often because Warlocks are awesome.
Yeah, that should be. I gotta think of a good character concept around my own brand of Warlock, but
oh god, I can't even fathom how messed up that's going to be. I can't wait.
All right. Well, thank you for your vote of confidence, for joining me here today. And thank you, listeners and watchers. And that was Hunger of Hadar. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.